from the nation's capital, Monrovia, pleasant good evening and welcome to News Today on KMTV. With me, Emmanuel Davis, presenting this edition of our news from Central Monrovia, Liberia. Stories topping this presentation. Today, violence ensued between members of the opposition community and that of the ruling establishment, the Coalition for Democratic Change, as Benoni Ure of all Liberian parties says he is optimistic that the results from the hearing into the dispute of Montserrado County District 15 by-election will be in the favor of his daughter, Telia Ure. Well, the National Council of Chiefs and Elders head Zanza Kaur says the council is ready to mitigate between government and protesters in Liberia. Says continuous protests in the country has the proclivity to scare away potential investors. These plus many other developments are packaged tonight in our news presentation. We take this break to be right back. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. We take our first development. The National Elections Commission today climaxed hearing and final arguments into Montserrado County District number 15 by-election electoral dispute. At the commission today, as you are seeing on your television screens, protesters from the two sides, the opposition community and that of the ruling establishment, the Coalition for Democratic Change, were involved in some fracas on 9th Street at the headquarters of the commission. Well, after the final argument today, All Liberian Party political leader Benoni Ure expressed optimism that the result of the District 15 by-election dispute hearing will be in the favor of the opposition bloc. He's been speaking more to journalists covering election matters in Liberia.
The results will determine our feelings. You know, in law, it's not yelling, dancing, and making a mockery of yourself that will impact the legal decision. The hearing team from NEC, I know most of them have a legal background. They would do what is patriotic required of them. It's to rule in the supreme interest, not the Liberian people, of the law and constitution of Liberia.
Even if that ruling does not favor you, sir?
It's impossible for it not to favor me, because we know what the law states. I was coming in to NEC and people threw rocks at me, water at me. I was tired. The thugs were out there doing that. You see, I didn't look at it negatively. You see, when we have our leader instructing the people to do what they did, it's a pity for us as a people.
I think the hearing went well. I think we presented a strong case. I have to give a big thank you to my legal team. I think, you know, we went through the 5 days in good cooperation, fair cooperation with, you know, Abu's legal team or CDC's legal team, NEC's legal team. We're waiting for the outcome now. We presented evidence, presented witnesses, presented a strong case. So I'm very positive that we'll get the outcome that we need, and I believe that we presented a strong case, and I know that we'll get the results that we need for our district and for our country to move forward. You see, this whole issue of violence, if it was stopped at the beginning when it started, we'll not be in this situation today. But we have seen people in our camp, our headquarters being attacked, our people being attacked to the extent that our people sometimes don't even feel free to move around when they see supporters of CDC. This is their normal habit, so they want to keep us in a shell. But even though we've been attacked, we've been mobbed, we've been provoked, you see the people still standing outside. It shows that we're stern, we're ready to move, we're ready to stand up for what we know is ours, and no level of intimidation by weak people who have no other choice but to resort to violence will steer us away from where we're going.
Daughter of Mr. Benona Ure and All-Liberian Party candidate in the just ended Montserrado District number 15 by-election, speaking there at the headquarters of the National Elections Commission to a cross-session of media practitioners. Meanwhile, Mr. Ure responded to comments attributed to President Weah, stating that the Ures will never win elections in Liberia as long as he, Mr. Weah, is in the country.
The people behave there based on the fact that our president told them no Ure must be elected president. Or no Ure will ever win election in this country.
When they are president.
My people, coincidentally, the Ures are Liberian, and we have rights. And everybody must respect the rights of every citizen. You know, even going further, the chairman of the party attacked me and my family and my business. We know this here now, the deputy director of NSA, Sam Sion radio station, Freedom radio station, is launching a campaign for them to go demonstrate at our business. The president has said nothing about it, so he concurs. Absent means what? Consent. My people, the violence we continue to see in our country, the president must speak out against it. He has to speak up against it. If the president did not, and I wish he didn't, and I don't think he does approve of it, because I know George will. But he cannot sit idle and have our country deteriorate into chaos. What happens here today, or what has happened on numerous occasions, he needs to put an end to it. Except it's all right with him that we continue to live in this country.
Also, CDC candidate in District number 15, Abu Kamara, accused the opposition community of instigating violence on 9th Street.
Around wanted people to pass up. They said they would bloody the people. So they had to turn the car around to come back. So we came for the police to arrest the situation, to escort them to leave.
You said those guys, what do you mean?
Of course, you know those thugs that they hired to come here today, for the Europe people.
They are soon throwing it right now where we walk.
But among you, the journalists, the other one were testing in there, they started to storm my people. Okay. Go there, a lot of them wounded. Okay. A lot of them. I'm disappointed in those guys who's supposed to be Liberian. Because this process will be over. It will be over, trust me.
Okay. Okay.
The one person will emerge.
They
so we gotta be safer. That is tuning my people. You go see them, they are wounded. They were on the way when I came to speak to them. All of them set a barricade. You have the right, you are a journalist, go there. See them, they already do a battle zone, you know, to stone the people and to help them. Because they got a tendency, most time, to say sedition. They were started, like people can say when we were much younger in Logan Town, they say you want John Wee, you get plenty of children. Okay. Right? Mm-hmm. So when they started and they start to wound the people, then they retreat, then they buy that sentiment. Because you know what happened? They took the Liberian people money and they were able to invest it in journalists, in other people. Boom, then they get sensational headline about CDC. That's why I'm sorry, I'm not attacking you all, but that's a fact. Sensational headline, we're all investigating.
Let's now bring you one of the supporters of the All-Liberian Party speaking to journalists today in Sinka on 9th Street. That happens to be the side of attraction today.
How can you be so cool? Are you because we are police?
So why are you guys standing on the road? Why are you guys standing on the
No,
road?
we were crossing. Then you want to stop us.
So,
What is that? You say we do not go. We abide by the law. Yeah, but then why is it that we standing here? Then you allow the guy to pass by you? You can jump us. Why will you allow
Who are
that?
those guys
you
that come on?
They see this here with us, sir. They demarcated the area. They said they will stand behind us, sir, and we stay here. We agree. Then we did not go to that area, but they pass by the police. The police allowed them to pass by them, and they can't do what? 8 women hurt. You see that? This is the kind of content that we are all praying for. There's the kind of content that we want to give up. They should be on the explain that one. Then they want to stop us on the side. What kind of sense that? That is a cloud of stupidity. Why would the police want to do that? We said we should not go there. We abide by the law. Why can't you stop the other people from coming to us? They allow the guy to stone us. We don't have confidence in there anymore. We have lost confidence. We will be here for the results tomorrow. And whatsoever, if it does not go our way, we will become step, we will oppose them. And so, because we know that tell you won the election, because we are, look, let me fuck with you. The US can win election. They want to fail it, you have to give it to them. If you don't give it to them, you are press your exit button. Just where you are pressing exit button.
Well, to find an amicable solution to this growing tension in Liberia, the National Council of Chiefs and Elders head Zanza Kawa told a news conference today that the council will host a one-week consultative meeting both with the government of Liberia and the protesters in this country. According to Mr. Kawa, the continuous protests and agitation in Liberia has the potential to scare away investors, thereby leaving Liberia backward. He's been speaking today in Monrovia.
And when we see security on the street, we see every day, they say, daily, everybody on the street, they say, oh, see 10 people here, see 100 people here, they marching, they doing their 1 year, it will not be good for the country. No investor will be prepared, trouble here they come. We said, all the things will happen, we not talk inside. You see, why we were not talking inside? Because we were thinking, our children then, our son then, they were going to know that somebody owned the country. That the country got followed. But we look at it, they not come. So we prepare. The 16 tribes in the countries, we prepare to come between. You know, yeah. The other 1 year we will not take somebody and different country to come to and be the mediators in that meeting there. So the children them who do that thing every day, and they and the government, you know the president godfather that we born the president, that we born the other children. So when confusion between them, we not supposed to talk fight. That our part of time. And they can between. I appeal to all of them. I'm talking today, they must pull Liberia fight. They must know that Liberia taking the day, no investor will come to help us. And when Liberia taking the day, every day people getting plane, they going back to the place where they coming from, it will not be better for the country. Today, and the next need in power, small shaking one will come, we got to arrest it quick and to get somewhere in the upper room so we can send in the start for the country. Yeah. Where are we? And when the country shaking the day, people fighting one another, people threatening one another, who will help the country? So I appeal. Mr. President, you get my point. Some people now want love. They can call trouble before they king. We don't want trouble no more. This is our country. The country for all.
Well, news coming from Capitol Hill says President George Weah has proposed to the legislature a 2-day national retreat aimed at discussing national issues. Viewers, if you just joined us tonight, this is a reminder that you're watching News Today on KMTV with me, Emmanuel Davis, presenting this edition of our news, and we'd like to say many thanks for joining us tonight on our news presentation. We take this break to be right back with more developments. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. Crusaders for Peace Executive Director Ambassador Judy Andy has frowned at people calling on the international community to cut off support to the country. According to her, this is not good for the development of the state, as several people across the 15 political subdivisions of the country are still to have improved life. She's been speaking today when she appeared on state radio.
We want to decentralize the process, and that's why we took it to, we've been to different parts and promoting peace, different parts of Liberia promoting peace. And interestingly, when I was in Bomi, one of the person that supported me in Bomi was the Honorable Sandra Johnson. I have his video that the initiative was very good. And so, and I traveled the length and breadth of Liberia just talking about peace. This is our country. I believe that anybody that will say to the international community, do not support Liberia, I think that person is an enemy to the state, to the people, because our people in the villages and towns and communities need to their lives. We need to impact their lives for economic sustainability of our people. If you give our people their farm and they are peaceful, how many police officers in the various villages and towns? But our people keep the peace. Sure. So to tell the international community not to support Liberia, I think it is not fair. I think we should, in a more peaceful manner, agreed. And I want to be the first to sound my voice that Liberia needs to be supported by the world is not a global village. The international community cannot turn their back on Liberia. There are more good people in Liberia than bad people.
Montserrat County District Number 7 Representative Solomon George has cautioned Liberians not to trust politicians absolutely. According to him, politicians are a group of deceitful liars who are historically responsible for the current status of Liberia. Serving as keynote speaker at the 21st graduation ceremony of Liberian Youth Christian Foundation High School in Painesville, Mr. George cautioned citizens to pray for their leaders to change for the better.
These few days we got angry with politicians. Oh, the people that are not doing it, they're not doing that. So we will not go outside there. God has given you too many things to understand that He is responsible for us. Don't trust the politicians. Trust God. God said in the book of Matthew, ask, seek, and yes. You people are still going, Liberian people still going to ask politicians to knock door to open door for you. Don't you know we are selfish people? Can't you see that without God, Liberia cannot go forward? Can't you see without God, the church cannot go forward? Stop depending on your representatives and senators, or even the president. Politicians, stop lying. Teachers, stop cheating. When will we stop trusting politicians? Why can't we learn lessons? Historically, politicians have never benefited this country. They are crooked. Don't be scared about Solomon Dorsey. Since this walk into our country, the minds are scattered, chata, everything turned upside down. Parking, la, mama can, la, children can, la, teacher can, la, pastor can, la. I mean, then all of them politicians only they are saying they are rotting to the core of the bones. How many of us have prayed for Liberia this morning before coming here? Before going to church, did you pray for your country? Did you commit your leaders unto God? To say, God, these people are crooks. God, these people are criminals, but by your... To say, God, these people are crooks. God, these people are criminals, but by your knowledge, by your way, by your word, straighten them for us.
Do not trust politicians, absolutely. Rather pray for them. Words of Mansurado County District Number 7 lawmaker Solomon George speaking there when he served as keynote speaker at the 21st graduation ceremony of the Liberian Youth Christian Foundation School in Painesville over the weekend. Let's now talk about some education-related matter. Education Minister Ansu Soni has proposed that there should be no graduation for season 9 graders in Liberia. He's also stated that schools operating in the confines of Liberia should include all fees in their information sheets given to parents for the enrollment of students during the academic period. He spoke today when he appeared at the House of Representatives on Capitol Hill.
What we have done this year in particular is to include in the academic calendar how much you can collect. Now, if you exercise your own authority and you go beyond what we ask you to collect, then that's a different story. So I just hope that information can be brought to me. I saw that I didn't address it earlier. We also have talked to private schools. When you produce your information sheet, every fee that school is likely to charge must be spelled. You don't wait until the academic year comes to an end and you say $500 for graduation fee, $600 for graduation fee, $300 to graduate from K2 to 1. We also decided, and I hope the Honorable House will go along with me because I'm talking to my two chairpersons, both on Senate and here, that as of now, there shall be no graduation of 6th grader to 7 or 9th grader to 10. Graduation is on entry coming from K2 because it's a motivation. Coming from K2 to 1st grade, and the only other time you graduate when you're getting out of high school at 12. Nobody should graduate from 6 to go to 7 or from 9 to go to 10. It's exploiting parents. We are asking members of the Honorable House to please speak to the parents. Ask the parents to please help us. If any of these are happening, we need to be informed.
From Capitol Hill now, this is how we like to take leave of you on our news presentation right here on KMTV. But before going, a recap of the headlines. The headquarters of the National Elections Commission was a scene to watch as two groups, one from the opposition community and another from the ruling Coalition for Democratic Change, were involved into some political clash there on 9th Street. And of course, the Liberian National Police, as you watch on your television screens, had to move in to settle the dispute today. Well, the National Council of Chiefs and Elders, Chief Zanza Kawa, the head of that institution, says they are going to hold a one-week conference with stakeholders and protesters who continue to protest in Liberia to find an amicable solution to some of the growing tensions in the country. Many thanks for joining us tonight on our news platform. Better still, you can join us on www.kmtvliberia.com and other social media networks, including YouTube, Twitter, available to you. My name is Emmanuel Davis, bidding you a wonderful good night from our central studios here in Central Monrovia.